All right, I hit the live button. It says that we are live. I'm going to trust it and say that we are live. Hello, everyone. My name is Carrow.
Hi, guys. Hi, Chad. Hi. Oh, Albany. Hey, what's up, girlfriend? Ashley, too. Okay, I'll shut up.
Welcome to Carrow's Calling, where I talk to people who are way more smarter than I am about storycraft, and I ask them questions in hopes that I can glean some more information and be a better writer going forward. I have today with me the Soska Sisters, who have donated an hour of their time to answer several questions from myself, and I guess we can go ahead and start with the first question, which is, who are you? What do you do? Tell us about you.
Sick. I'm Soph.
I'm Jen. We're twins.
We're the Soska Sisters.
We've been twins and the Soska Sisters our whole lives.
And then because we got tired of everyone just referring to us as the twins or being like, those are twins, we were like, what if we made movies and called ourselves the Twisted Twins? And then they'd still be like generalizing, but they'd be like, it's because those chicks make horror movies, not because those chicks just look like. Which still happens.
Yeah. We also write comic books. We've all grew up on comic books, video games, wrestling, horror movies. Those were our step parents in the relationship. And we never grew out of loving those things. And it's always been my dream to be able to work in horror movies, wrestling, video games, and comic books. And yeah.
That's what we do.
Living the life.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done all of it. Yeah.
Just small things, like nothing, just modest, right?
If you work hard enough, you can be friends with your favorite wrestlers if you work really super hard.
Yeah, your favorite artist is probably a really successful, really secluded person. So you definitely can be friends with them one day.
One day. Cool. So I guess, how did you guys, I know the answer to this question. I don't think everybody else knows. So how did you get started on this journey from where you were to creating films?
Well, I would say horror movies started with my mom. My mom always had and still does have this huge collection of Stephen King novels and Anne Rice novels. Yeah. Anne Rice was our Twilight when we were growing up.
Yeah.
We were much luckier growing up. But my mom tricked us into reading at a very young age. She said, hey, if you can read the novel, I'll let you watch the movie. And then we automatically did what every kid did, reading a Stephen King book versus a movie. We're like, oh, the book was so much better. So we just kept reading at a really great level. But we never knew horror was a bad thing. We just always thought it was like Barbie for us. It was something we did with our mom.
Yeah, we watched Poltergeist with her. It was the first horror movie she let us watch, and it scared the shit out of us. I mean, it's just designed to scare the shit out of kids. And am I allowed to say shit, Carrow?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. Too late now.
Too late now. We're too far along.
You can do whatever the fuck you want. It's fine.
Oh, yeah, nice.
So consent.
After we watched it's so very important with horror movies. After we watched it, we were terrified, and my mom sat us down, and she did something that would change our lives forever. She explained what just happened, and she said that story wasn't real. Somebody wrote it. The house was rented. It was a set. People dressed it up. The people who were speaking, they were all actors, and even the monsters were fake. And it's all their job to scare you. And I was like, it's their job to scare me? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, that's what I want to do. But we didn't put one and one together like that. We grew up around the time of the Olsen twins, so we just felt we were going to be actresses. We never thought we were going to direct. We fought directing so super hard, and it ended up being something we ended up loving.
Yeah, we grew up in a different time, children. If you were a girl, you were really pushed to be an actress or a singer or a model. They never said, "Ooh, you can be a producer, you can be a director or a writer." Those were boy things. And it wasn't until we went to a film school that wasn't really too much of a film school, where we made a fake trailer where we directed, produced, wrote, did everything as well as acted, and we realized, wow, I actually really love directing. It's like acting, except you don't have to beg for work. And you can still throw yourself in the movie if you really want to.
Yeah, and we kind of walked into that ass backwards. We wanted to go from acting into stunt acting. So we took this course, which was an action for actors. And we thought it was an acting like a film school. But it was just one of those things that was really good at ripping off stupid, naive people that want to work in the film business. And so for our last project, they took our funding and just told us to do whatever. And they had a list of everything that was too inappropriate to do for school. But we were like,
censorship in a school?
We were pretty pissed off. So it was kind of like a haha, fuck you. So, and they didn't have bestiality or necrophilia on it. So we put that into the thing too. And we shot something called Dead Hooker in a Trunk. that was intentionally meant to piss you off, that was violent, gratuitous, really sexy.
It was all the good parts of the movie, basically, with no plot that would bring it together, just these isolated, awesome incidents.
And we were inspired by Hobo with a Shotgun because while we were miserable at film school, after we were done class, we would go to the theater and watch it. And they had Hobo with a Shotgun. And we're like, man, I wish I was like Rodriguez and Tarantino. I wish I was making like cool movies like this. And then we walked out of the theater one day and Jen goes, dead hooker in a trunk. And I was like, what's that? And she's like, fuck these guys. We're going to make a fake trailer. It's going to be our own thing. We're going to call it Dead Hooker in a Trunk. And then I was like, wow. And then I was like, can there be a cowboy pimp in it? She's like, for sure.
Yeah.
And we...
and that's how we started. I wouldn't recommend that would be everyone's movie approach.
Make a statement with your first movie. Come on.
But you can. The way we did it and the way Robert Rodriguez made his early films is you take these little cue cards and you write all the scenes that are the good scenes of your movie, and then you try and put them on a timeline, and you're like, okay, we need something to get from the cowboy pimp showdown to the triad drug scene.
Yeah. And I mean, like, if there's any indie filmmakers watching, the way to do this and really stretch your dollar is think of things that you have that are high production value that you can have for free. Like,
and things that your friends have, because you kind of have that.
Exactly. Classic car, put it in the movie. Someone's got a business, close it after hours. Now you got a location.
Access to a horse, why not?
You know, someone's sort of famous, pay them like $1,000 to show up for a day. Now you have international distribution, you know, like that's it. And so we played Dead Hooker in a Trunk, the trailer, dead last. We were like, hee hee, we made this for ourselves.
At our film school graduation.
And half the audience walked out. And the other half was cheering so hard you couldn't hear the intentionally disgusting dialogue. And so they're like, can you play it again? And we were like, nailed it. And then people went up to us and they're like, so what are you guys going to do now? Where's the feature? And we didn't know anybody would expect more from us, so we just lied and
we embellished, which is what you do in the film industry. It's only a lie if you can't pull it through. And we're like, oh yeah, well, this was the trailer to the film that we're obviously in the process of making. So we did a script and we wrote it on Word. So anyone that's concerned about how did you write your first script,
follow your dreams. Even if it's on Word format.
No scene was numbered. It was madness. But we wrote it and we shot it during the writer's strike, the earlier 2000s.
The first one, not the one that just happened, but like the first one.
It was like the depression for the film industry, but the earlier one. And there's a lot of really talented people that listen to our passion. We're like, that's so insane. Like, if I had a job right now, I'd never do this, but yeah, why not?
Yeah,
why the hell not?
We had the greatest stunt team that came out, all the actors. We even shot in a national park without permission, and the rangers there were like, are you guys shooting a movie? Oh, let's just make sure you don't have a crowd around there. And it was while we were digging a hole to throw the dead hooker in. Like, I don't know if
Canadian filmmaking.
I don't know if it's still like guerrilla filmmaking like that, you know, get your permits, get really good lights, but you know, you'll be fine. So we made this piece of art and we cut a trailer to it and we sent it to every director involved with Grindhouse, just basically being like, you inspired me, thank you. And no one responded to us except for Eli Roth on MySpace. And he's like, don't send me the trailer, I want to watch the whole movie. And it was really him. And he did watch it and he was so cool about it. And he gave us some notes. We took some of them and we had a really strong edit. And then nobody would buy the movie. Nobody would even screen the movie based on title alone. They said it was horrific and we shouldn't have done it. And we're like, oh man, it's so fun.
Then our parents actually remortgaged their house to be able to be the first investors in our second film, American Mary. And if you haven't seen American Mary and you're wondering who we are, it's why we're famous.
It's why we even have a career right now. And then we did a movie with Kane, which made way more money.
Yeah, but American Mary, like if you like body modification and fuck yeah films, and if you have a girl in your life that doesn't like horror movies, she hasn't seen this one yet.
Yeah, no,
it's just a very satisfying, and it's not like a yay feminism. It's like a fuck yeah, this bitch got shit done kind of movie.
Yeah, I think anybody can find the joy in watching American Mary, which is a weird thing to say. It's just kind of like a fun little film. And after that, I feel like I feel like Eli didn't even watch any of it.
No,
Yeah.
we dedicated American Mary to Eli Roth because he was so nice to us. And I still to this day, I'm like, why were you nice to us? Because people are so mean to everybody. Why did you trust us to be in your circle? But then I realized, when you meet a legitimate person, you just kind of hang on to them in this world.
Yeah, so after American Mary, WWE Studios and Lionsgate came knocking. They had us do See No Evil 2 with Kane. After that, they brought us back for their action six-pack, Vendetta, starring The Big Show and Dean Cain. We only work with Canes.
We did Tears for Torture Porn and ABCs of Death 2, which is proudly banned in 3 countries now, I think.
Yeah.
Including Germany, which is funny because the German censors hate us, but the German fans love us.
The Germans have to be really careful about what they let out there. It's been a while. Yeah.
No comment.
No comment.
No comment. And then we did Rabid. We remade a David Cronenberg film, and then we made On the Edge, which is our probably never to be released extreme horror film. And then we have
It's an erotic thriller, but I think when you put an erotic thriller with Bible study, apparently it's super. In South Africa, we got like a 12-page letter of everything. So we got banned. We premiered in London. We did great, and then
it's not as extreme as it sounds. It's the most digestible way to get the Bible, really. I mean, visually.
So okay, it's about a guy who orders a 36-hour session with a dominatrix who just might be the devil, and then they'd have Bible speech between each other.
It's a metaphor for Catholic guilt, and a pretty obvious one.
Anyways, so after doing that, we got selected to do a sequel to Night of the Living Dead called Festival of the Living Dead, which is out this year sometime from Tubi.
And that's our whole film career.
That's our film. And we were game show hosts.
Oh yeah, for hell of it.
Yeah, you did TV, right?
Oh, we did TV. We did 2 seasons.
Well, the scary thing is, I thought we were signing on for TV. I didn't know we were signing on for live television. And although this is like, I love this, but there's something called game show law. And we're working with GSN, who I love, and Blumhouse, who I love. But they have very different values. I can love people with very different values. But when they came together creatively, it's pretty challenging. We
got so many angry phone calls for Elevator. Like, they thought we were actually murdering people in the slaughterhouse. And we're like, we're not, though. And they're like, but don't break character. You can't tell them that. I'm like, I don't.
There are people in America who thinks we killed people in that slaughterhouse. And actually, the waiver said we could. So
it was it was an interactive haunted house where you got leeches thrown on you or electric shock collar. It was done by the same people that did Fear Factor. So
there's some episodes floating around on YouTube right now, guys.
Yeah, they're really
check them out.
Yeah, and that's all of the film stuff.
I remember when we were over at MegaCon and you guys were like, hey, we were going to go see Eli, come with us. And I was like, oh, okay. And for those of you who don't know me, I don't know anybody. Like, you say like a name, a producer, an actor. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. And so we walked over and went to like the guest area and he had a line. I was like, I think this is a dude. And then like after we, shook hands and walked off, I was looking him up and I was like, yep, that was a dude.
He's the sweetest. We met him right before Inglourious Bastards came out. And he was taking us to dinner, and his Tarantino movie was about to come out, and some drunk guy was like, how you get twins? And I'm like, how did we walk with him? It's not the other way, buddy. Like, God.
He's such a sweetheart, and I if you've never seen Hostel or Hostel 2, they are such a good watch. I remember when Hostel 1 came out, no one would go to the theater to watch it with me. They were so scared. And then Hostel 2, I think it's just
will say
a feel-good film.
Trigger warning. If y'all are watching, Andrew, if you're here, don't watch Hostel.
No, Andrew can watch Hostel. No. Andrew, you can watch Hostel, but he shouldn't be here. He's moving. Oh, he is here. Hi, Andrew.
Oh, we should tell him a spoiler. Okay, so you've got this comic coming out called Yara, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I hear that there might be a character named Yara.
Spoiler alert, Yara's in it, and she does Yara stuff.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm Tom Hollanding right now. You have no idea how excited I am. I just got off the phone about NDA stuff.
You got it, Andrew Garfield. You can't Tom Holland. Remember Andrew Garfield? Right in his eyes, they were like, "Are you there?" And he's like, "I did not get the call." lied to our faces.
I'm gonna Tobey Maguire it, and people ask me, I'm just gonna smile like, I don't know.
It's an Andrew thing to keep information on the lockdown.
I just like watching him respond to the chat in all caps, but I'll take some mercy on him and redirect the comic conversation to tell me about how you got into writing comics and like things that you like to do with that.
Oh, once upon a time ago at See No Evil, when we were doing See No Evil 2, we had an opportunity to direct Painkiller Jane,
which is one of our favorite comics.
And one day I will direct Painkiller Jane. If you don't know what Painkiller Jane is, imagine a hot cop that does not give a shit, that's bisexual. Think 90s energy.
Yeah, it's like Bound.
Oh, yes, it is like Bound. And if you haven't seen Bound, Andrew, you can watch Bound. That's a good movie for you.
Bound is hot. Yeah, Andrew, what? Don't watch it with any family members, though.
No.
Just watch it by yourself.
Maybe with Ace. Ace would like it.
Ace is the dog.
Ace is the dog.
Yeah.
But anyways, Painkiller Jane then gets these superpowers that makes her heal faster. And it's not that she can't feel pain. She's always in pain, but she just heals faster. Her pain doesn't kill her. And she's a little like Johnny from Cobra Kai. She's
not appropriate. She'll get gunned down, and the bullets will rip open her bra and her tit will be out, and she'll be saving someone. They'll be like, Jane, your boob. And she's like, yeah.
If you attack her in the shower, she's going to run out of the shower and attack you. She's not going to put a towel on first. She's just
90s vibes. Anyway, so we were attached to the film, and then the comic people were like, want to write for Marvel? Maybe here, meet everybody. And we're like, Mothership has accepted us.
And we got to meet so many people, and one of the greatest people I've ever met was Jake Thomas, who was our editor at Marvel, and he pushed every time we wrote a story for Marvel. We did 3 short stories and then a very epic Black Widow run, which I wish we were still writing, but them's the apples.
You can always come back. You signed a life contract.
Is it like all dogs go to heaven? Can I never come back? I don't know.
No, you're locked in. You're locked in for life. Both contracts. DC has you too.
Oh, that's so funny. But yeah, Jake Thomas, we met him and we started talking about comic books. And then at one point he was like, you guys don't just like comic books, like you like comic books. And I was like, I always thought, sir, that I was going to write for Marvel and that these people are my friends and I care about them intimately and deeply. And then he was like, what do you think of Night Nurse? And we're like, oh, Night Nurse. And then we went off and he's like, nobody even knows Night Nurse. Can you write a little story for her? And that was our way in. That was our first thing.
One,
and if you can get your hands on a copy of that,
Secret War Journal number 5.
Yeah.
We specialize in medical horror if you've never watched any of our films. So that's a hand in glove fit for us.
Oh yeah. And we wrote it like we'd never get another opportunity to write a comic again. We're like, every frame has to count. This has to be perfect.
And they brought us back.
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson dropped out of the Guardians of the Galaxy, so they hired us.
It's either Neil deGrasse Tyson or us.
We're like the same guy. Like exactly the same.
We're so sciencey and spacey.
Yeah, they're like, we want that smarts for the book.
And we did an ode to Alien.
Yeah.
We had Kitty Pryde, who was part of them at the time, and Star-Lord and Rocket all arguing over who the Ripley was.
Because they just watched Alien, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they had us come back
for a Halloween issue.
Yeah. Well, we were doing Rabid at the time, and we were joking about making Steve Rogers the Marilyn Chambers character. And we were like, but
too sexual. They won't go for it.
But also we were like, he's more like the Thing. And they're like,
because he's found in the ice.
Would you make a The Thing spoof? And we're like, yes. Can I write Deadpool though? And they're like, okay, so it's Tony Stark, and you can have Deadpool and Colossus as him kind of. Because he gets to make a Cronenberg joke and.
So if you had to like give advice or something that you wish people writing comics would know, like what would that thing be?
Oh wow. Remember that it's a visual medium. Remember that you do have to lay out a scene. Like you have to pace, and you have in a movie it's so fluid, but with a comic script, you really have to know what you're writing in each panel, and you have to, I would even say, if you can draw it out, like even stick figure it and like have the page already in your head and like that, it helps so much because it's such a visual medium and it's such an exact, precise medium, because when you write a movie script, it being interpretive is part of the magic. When you're writing a film script or a comic book script, you don't want it to be interpretive for the artist. You want them to know exactly what to do and where and how.
Yeah, and if you're a artist, have a good portfolio, and don't be afraid to go to like a Comic-Con and hit up like Jimmy Palmiotti or something like that and be like, give me some honest advice, because that's the way that you're going to get better. Just come super prepared, and also don't wait for permission to follow your dream. Just do it. Just work your ass off. I mean, you can make time to go to work. You can make time for yourself like that.
It's easier than you think. I mean, especially with the amount of independents that are releasing material. If you get a portfolio together, either as a writer or an artist, go to these comic alleys, because at every Comic-Con they have like the celebs, or it's the lineup experience. You want to line up to pay $300? Cool. Have a fun time lining up for like 5 seconds for $300. Or you can talk to the actual creatives, and they will look at your work. They'll give you honest feedback. And if they like your work, they'll be like, here, give me your card. Here's my card. I'll hire you as an artist, or hey, I'm doing an anthology. I can sneak a story in for you or something.
Yeah, use social media to connect with people. And then you can use Rip a Send to get your books out. Not even hard anymore.
No, it's not. Yep. For more information on that, you guys can go to ripasend.com. I don't want to derail too much because we're here to talk about you guys and things that you are very good at. So when you're working with like movies, one question.
Sorry, the dog.
She owns this house. It's okay. She owns the stream too. So is there like a particular scene that you guys did at one point that was challenging to shoot, and how did you overcome that when you were filming?
Wow. I would say the assault scene in American Mary was definitely the hardest scene we've ever shot, for multiple reasons. Not for the comfort level of our actress, amazingly enough. The actor in the scene was incredibly uncomfortable, but the worst part was there was a producer on set that was trying to get us to force the actress to do nudity against her will, and he kept saying, well, she trusts you, so make her do it, or the film won't be released. Every threat in the book. I still remember that as one of those in the moment horrifying, because I'm in my 20s, I'm making a movie, and I'm being paid nothing for it. It's the last day of the movie, and it was really, really tough. What we ended up doing, and what everyone should do, is we told the producer, fuck no and fuck you, but in a little bit more diplomatic ways. And the poor actor, I kept having to take him aside and being like, it's not you that's doing it. She's totally fine. He's like, I'm a disgust, like this, I can't do this. It's a disgusting scene to do. And I'm like, I know.
There's a lot of scenes in our movies where after we yell cut, the actor goes over to the actress and is like, oh, I'm sorry. Like every time
someone goes and smokes a cigarette after.
Well, Kane is, he's such a nice. Glenn Kane Jacobs, the wrestler, is the most wonderful, sweetest man in the world. But he was playing a serial killer that would call sexually active girls whores. So after every take where he had to say that word, he'd be like, "I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I would never. If they didn't write it in the script." And the girl's like crying, laughing with blood coming out of her mouth, and she's like, "It's fine. I read the script." And he's like, "No, it's just I would never do that." Like CM Punk too in Rabid, he plays a shitty guy, and he has to accost this girl. And after every take, he's like, "I'm so sorry," and she's like, I'm harassed girl. I know it was in the script, but I mean,
I auditioned for this.
It's still nice to know you're working with human beings. Like I think people don't know that about when you're making a horror movie, that it's a lot of laughs, it's a lot of safety, it's a lot of comfort. Jen and I, as the directors, are the last line of defense before everything, because everything kind of gets filtered through us, and we have to kind of make those different calls. Yeah, I think for me the hardest thing is like, on Rabid, there are a lot of surreal moments. I don't know if you've ever seen the original film, but it's about a biological vampire that has a tentacle that comes out of her armpit and feeds on people. When you have weirds, and it kind of looks very Giger-esque, when you have weird Cronenberg body horror and everybody is reading a page and they're like, this is sick, and then the tentacle comes to set, or somebody has like a face mask and it's just a bunch of rows of teeth, and like there's a little girl eating a bird, so replicating like in a Rene Magritte painting. If you don't have a strong sense of direction, people people will be like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, I remember so much. They're like, I don't, and you have to become like Loomis, like you become the hype man for your own set. You're like, no, man, like you don't fucking get it. Like David Cronenberg could barely shoot the tentacle. And we have like the Game of Thrones sound design team making a voice for the tentacle. Your tentacle is next level. Like this is going to be, because you don't want anyone to ever feel silly. And while you're on set, you can kind of feel like, oh my God, what's happening? And then afterwards you see it all cut together and they're like, thanks, Sylvia. I didn't know what you were doing. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to look stupid either, right?
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. That's that's wild. Like I know, like when the producer like comes in and at your level and starts requesting changes, that's always like a tricky minefield to work with. I just
it's true, and it's always the person with all the power that has that, because it's never like, hey, this camera guy said something shady. It's always somebody that is irreplaceable, or it's like, hey, the star talent, he just grabbed that guy's dick. What are we gonna do? And we're like,
I'm gonna call his agent and tell them we have an incident.
It's so weird and it's so shady and it's so cliche. And it's always the producer that doesn't even show up every day. There's people that only show up if there's sex or nudity.
If that is a joke in the business, as soon as you have a sex scene or any kind of nudity, people from other sets show up on your. You're like, why is the accountant here today? You're like,
that's amazing. Not amazing. That's really sad.
Oh, on the day it happened, it was horrifying. Today, it's so funny because I'm like, man. And that's just, like, welcome to show business, kids.
Yeah, but, you get to meet your union heads. You get to have some good conversations about workplace safety. I mean, it's fun.
So I usually don't take questions from the chat, but there's a beloved soul here called Mama Ward, and she usually gets pretty much anything that she wants.
Hi!
So she had one question I thought you might like to answer, which was, has there ever been a scene that you wrote and you were really excited about, but then you looked back at it later and said, nope?
Oh, wow. It's usually vetoed pretty fast when I write something. Like, I'll intentionally write stuff to get taken out of a script so I can protect other ideas that I'm like, ooh, they're not going to like that. But if I put this and this around and they're like, oh, take that out, then I'm like, okay, I'll take it out. And then I'm like, one thing I wanted is still fine.
I turned down a job recently because there was way too much implied animal cruelty. And before I had Princess Diana, and I've never put animal stuff into my film. I mean, if someone's going to be tortured, it's going to be a human being.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be a vulnerable human being. It's going to be like between 18 and 65. You're on your fucking own. You're on your own. Good luck.
Good luck, adults.
But yeah, I said yes to it, and then I had to turn it down because as I reread it, even though it had a supernatural aspect, it played that it was just like dog suffering, and I was like, I couldn't spend 1 minute if even with my dog actor, if the dog looked legitimately scared, even if there's someone was holding a treat, I'm like, shut it down.
And also,
shut it down.
When you've done this for as long as we have, you kind of know that, because like I remember sound design will get you, because you'll be there and you'll go over one horrific thing like 5 horrific seconds over and over and over and over, and you try and make it scarier and scarier and scarier, and it fucks with you. It really
Festival of the Living Dead. I've listened to so many people being eaten now, and people crying over people being eaten at the same time.
Oh, and it sucks because you love these people, and like I mean, like when I was younger, I was like, haha, you're getting murdered in my movie, and now I get to the dead, I'm like, sorry, Christian. Like
I remember working with Danielle Harris, and I was like, so what are you gonna do when you finish? And she's like, oh, I'm gonna have a baby. I'm like, oh, you not trying now? And she's like, I can't, because I don't want my baby's first moments of life inside me to be like, mom's running from her life, from Jacob Goodnight. She got stabbed to death. Oh no.
She's screaming. She's crying over another dead body.
I know, as stupid as that sounds, that was a real moment where I'm like, man, like especially the good actors, they really go there. It's true. If you're thinking about it, it's no different from doing it. So if you're acting out something horrible, your body doesn't know the difference. You're crying, you're like hyperventilating.
Yeah.
Filmmaking.
Yeah, it really fucks actors up. Thank you, actors.
Yeah, God bless actors.
God bless you, actors.
doing their best to make pretend. So I guess a good question at this point is like, how do you approach the balance between psychological horror and the physical horror in your films? Because I know you dabble in both in that way.
Well, we definitely make a choice if we're going to go psychological or bloody when we start. With Dead Hooker in a Trunk, our first movie, we just wanted anyone to watch it. Anyone for any reason. That's why we called it Dead Hooker in a Trunk.
We set a dude on fire. That was a good movie.
It was bloody. It was naughty. We say the F word 182 times. No, 181 times. Because it was definitely 181. That's how I remember. That's how I remember. Yeah. And then American Mary, psychological. Even though we got the psycho effect where some people saw things that weren't in the movie. A lot of people were like, well, we watched you cut up Dr. Grant. I'm like, oh, I wish.
No, you
maybe
didn't.
In the TV series, but no, you didn't see it here. But people still called it torture porn. And they said it was the worst kind of torture porn. And at that time, no one called girls making anything torture porn. So I was kind of flattered.
Eli, we're the same as you.
I've seen American Mary. Like, you don't actually have like, I think the only time you have like the actual like hurting on scene is with Billy in the basement. Like that was it. Like everything with Mary was just kind of like, and it happened.
Right?
Yeah, and
right?
It's very clean, very. I find that films like American Mary more people can watch, and I find films like Vendetta. So much of the violence got cut out of Vendetta. Vendetta is our Punisher movie where Dean Cain is like Frank Castle and the Big Show is a kingpin all in prison. And there was a whole head smashing sub storyline that got cut. And Big Show, his finisher would be crush somebody's head, and we did these practical like head crashes with the brain matter, and I was really like, I fought for it so hard.
It looked like he killed a man though. That was the thing, because we were working with the Big Show and he's a giant, and we're like, oh, what would it be like if he went Mama Clan in prison and took over the other gangs? And one of the guys, he just threw him on the ground and smashed him, and we had bone, we had brain, we had an eye come out. I feel like it was like Japanese horror. Like if it was like overseas, they would have been like, Sylvia, Jen, this is great, but WWE was like, no.
We knew that one was going to be bloody. We wanted to push that one. That one is probably our bloodiest movie yet.
And then I think See No Evil 2 is the sexiest one. There's a lot of sex scenes.
It really depends on the film too, because like when you do a Living Dead movie, it has to be bloody. It has to be, and you can still do it tastefully, but you watch people you love die, and then you have to kill them again
as a zombie. But that's psychological, right?
Yeah, but sometimes they're eating someone you love. Also, it's upsetting.
So sometimes it's both.
It depends on the audience. It 100% depends on the audience. Like there's some people that watch Terrifier 2 and they're like, yay!
Yeah,
they're fun people.
Like I remember when we screened On the Edge in London. I think it's the scariest thing we ever did, because we made it seem like the audience was stuck in a 36-hour session and there was no room for error in anything. And then the biblical demon stuff starts happening, and it's so scary, and it's almost surreal, because like there's a mushrooms vibe and you're like, whoa, is this really happening? And it goes very psychological into how people feel about certain things. And it was so weird afterwards. I had people coming over because they're like, I brought my mom to this. I didn't know it was this kind of film. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Like,
do you take your mom to a lot of films about a dominatrix who might be the devil though? I mean, it's kind of like, we had been centipede pitch. You gotta know it's gonna be something.
Oh, but we had some dominatrixes in the audience, which was amazing, because they were dying laughing, because Jen got certified as a dominatrix.
I did.
Everybody did something over COVID, right? Everyone did something.
Everyone got a new hobby, right? Why not?
Tomato plants. Some people, I don't know.
I always liked whips. It just went hand in hand.
Anyhow, so it was a fun movie. But
not a spot of blood.
A little bit in a fantasy.
Where? Oh yeah, very little bit of blood in that one, but mostly it's just uncomfortable body horror. If you're a dude, there's a scene about 10-15 minutes in that it's okay if you leave.
You can go.
It's okay.
But remember it's a prosthetic, because a lot of people are like, that poor man. But he's okay.
I don't hurt people for real in my movies.
So when you guys are like, I think I talked to you guys a little bit about this, about what makes you excited about like when you take on when you when you take on projects, right? So like, what are like your big yeses when somebody's like, hey, we're thinking about doing this, do you want in?
Wow, a lot of the time it's what the story is about, and if it's something that sticks with me. Like, for example, we were sent a script that upset us so much for weeks, and we couldn't stop arguing about it and saying how upset it made us and how I can't believe somebody would do something like that. And then I was like, I have to make it. It has to be me who does it because I can't stop thinking about it. And if anybody else makes it, I will freak out. And it's something that we're making. And I think
every page I was like, I'm so mad. Like,
I'm
fuck
so
this.
mad.
No way.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I can't believe I'm still reading this. And then something happens that's like such an insane twist. I'm like, no. And then I'm like, oh, I can't believe this. And then I was like, I wish I watched it. I wish I didn't read it. I wish I watched it, and I wish I made it.
But a lot of the time we get hired as guns for hire. Like, we have a project called Unseen with Radar. They're the people who did like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and like the Jumanji series. And they had us adapt a video game into a script. And Jen and I were able to do a lot of creative freedom with that, which was really fun. But like, I think we've written almost every script we've done.
We've definitely tweaked a lot.
We've tweaked a lot.
We've definitely been uncredited and unpaid writers on a lot of things.
Except Festival. The girls were good. The girls were fantastic.
The writers they were fantastic. Everyone that we've worked with is fantastic. For anyone gets hurt feelings, we love you all.
You guys
we
are
actually
all good.
mean it. Yeah. For me, it's the dark night of the soul. Every one of our films is about the dark night of the soul. Something happens that should ruin the character and kind of ruins their life, fucks it up. It's the bottom of Act 2 for those in the film business. And instead of destroying them, it's the thing that they take their most power from. Mm-hmm. And it's the thing that makes them. And when I see that, I like hopeful movies in that way. I mean, in a way, yeah, it was American Mary hopeful. Yeah, she died on her own terms. Yeah, she didn't have to ask. She had zero trust for anybody except herself.
Spoilers, guys.
If you didn't see American Mary,
spoilers.
Just get like blackout drunk and watch it. You won't remember what we said. Don't worry about it. But it's for me, it's also the subliminal messaging. Like if it's about people suck or hey, we hate on this group. I read the script that I loved so much, but it seemed like it was one group against the other group. And it was pretty evenly matched until the halfway point. And then it was one group just decimating another group. And I was like, can't do it. Like, this is just... And then there was a twist that changed everything. It was like, I'm back in. So I said yes.
Which one was that?
That was...
Oh, yeah! Yeah, because you thought it was a thing, but it was actually 100 for... Yeah.
It started actually as felt like a Black Widow story, and I was like, wow, and then stuff happened, and then it was just, yeah.
I just want you all to witness that they can, in fact, keep secrets. They're doing
It's hard.
It's so hard. Oh my gosh. We were just talking about secrets before we started.
We were talking about secrets.
Anyways, those were our secrets, though. They're not for you guys. So
we've been working hard.
Yeah, we've got interesting secrets.
Really great secrets that I shouldn't say because then Andrew's suddenly gonna pop up in my office. So I'm gonna sidestep for a minute because you've done comics, you've done movies, you said you did video games, which means that I know each of those like kind of have like their own storycraft and beats. What would you say is
acting in the video games? We were rented voices.
Your rented voices?
Yeah, the game. I think the game's coming out.
It is. It's coming out soon. It's called Dead Letters.
Yeah, there's a playable version.
Yeah, and it is, as far as I know, the first horror game that is designed to help you face your fears.
Yeah,
and phobias.
Yeah,
and I play an evil bitch in it, but I'm misunderstood.
That's some serious acting for you because I've met you both and you're delightful. Like,
aww, thanks.
Every time somebody says something mean about you guys, are like, are you talking about the same people? Because like those are not the people I know. Like,
I pay those people though. That's for street cred, so it's scary.
Is that what we have to do?
They keep coming back and giving my money back and saying they heard from you. Like,
okay, well then for movies and comics then, so we'll take the video game part of it. But like, what are the big?
Eric has his dream come true, and we start making the comic books or the video games for Rippaverse. I'm gonna be all over begging to be part of that.
I can't wait for Yara to kick my ass in that.
Oh, I would pay good money for a simulator where you just fight Yara, but you lose every time.
Yeah, people pay for that.
Again, bummer.
Okay, so what would you say are the big storytelling differences between comics and novels? I'm kind of versed in both, more in novels than comics, so I'd like to hear it from the people that actually did it, like, professionally.
I've never written a novel.
Oh.
I've written a short story.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I actually have a dream of taking all of our horror ideas that may or may never be films and doing a short horror anthology. So I can just have like a little Stand By Me in a book that maybe a future generation is like, I'll make a Soska Sisters thing out of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, there's a secret novel that nobody knows about that's being...
Oh, yes.
So sometimes directors like to adapt movies into books. And that's challenging, but fun, because then the fans can get it adapted into a TV series more easily.
I say the thing with a film is it's so much smaller than a comic book or a novel, because you can take your time in a comic book, you can really take your time in a novel, and you can do everything that you want. In a movie, you just have to show the best parts or the saddest parts of what is happening. Like the part where someone's, unless it's like Shame and Michael Fassbender and you want to watch him walk around naked in his apartment for a while because you're a director who's in love with him, why not? Why not? But usually you don't want to just have a guy answering his machine and like drinking a cup of coffee. You just want to have all them good parts of the movie in there.
I think they put that part in Shame because they're like, just ignore the nudity. And everyone was like, what? Are you kidding me? And there were even emails at like studios being like, this dick is too big. What are we going to do? I don't know.
If you haven't seen Shame,
what kind of problem is that? Oh my goodness.
They said, they were so mean to Michael Fassbender. They said that he makes normal men look inadequate. I'm like, listen, we can just say that he's a very blessed man.
Just
and a
leave
good actor.
it. We had Pamela Anderson in the 90s. We didn't fucking complain. We were like, that's great. Right in slow motion, Pam.
He's a sex addict. That's his like heroin needle. Leave it alone.
What was the question?
The difference between writing novels, comics, and movie scripts.
So we can take the novels out. So
I will say the thing about movie scripts is comics, you get a lot of support, but movies, there are so many people that touch a movie script before. It's like the Bible. The amount of people that have had their hands on it and done little edits in it by the time you see it on the screen, it changes a lot. There's a little bit of a comfort when you write a comic book that it is going to turn out the way that you've written it. You're not going to come back and like the entire ending will be re-edited and you'll be like, whoa, what the fuck happened?
So when you're doing a comic book, you can just tell the story as is in every sort of way. When you're doing a movie script, if I go outside at night, that's expensive. So in my mind, I know how much money I have, and while I'm writing the script, it's like I'm grocery shopping with it, and I'm on a fixed budget. I'm like, okay, you can have this, you can have that, you can have that. And by the time the movie's done, they're like, hey, remember the 6 things you really loved? Yeah, okay, that's gone, good luck. And you're like, and so I find I'm always padding scripts and putting extra things in it. So by the time what's left, people will be like, wow, that was a good movie. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it was.
What you saw of it, yeah, but if only you saw the comic book version. That's why I love doing comic books, because there's no budget. It's like getting a $300 million budget and just being told to go. Yeah. The real reason why Rogue and Storm never flew is because it's
no one could afford it. Are you kidding me? Now that the AI shit's out, maybe they got a chance.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, that's the funnest thing about writing Yara is like
the freedom.
Well, think of where you saw her in I Psalm 1 and then I Psalm 2, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that chick was Yara. She looks like Yara. I don't know.
It's been tough to just sit here and listen to fan theories about Yara for so long. I can't wait for people to actually be able to hold a Yara.
Oh my.
Let's just say that if the Yara comic was a movie, we went over budget by a lot.
Oh yeah, it would be a Disney production. Well, not Disney, but financially,
they would have been like, "Why did you have to go to all these crazy places? How many of these
It would be like
events are gonna happen.
It would be like the making of Blues Brothers. Like we would have made so much damage making the Yara movie. There would be like 3 different countries where they'd be like, just don't come back.
We would have to have diplomatic immunity. Yeah. Does she go to different countries? I don't know.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned Yara because we have time to talk about Yara, which is like your more recent project. What would you like to discuss with Yara?
What am I allowed to discuss?
I got a finger over this mute button if I have to, but
oh, sick. Yara is a comic book character from the Rippaverse who is strong, can fly, and has icy powers of some sort. I don't know.
I like how controlled you are.
A lot of people want to know who she is and if she knows anybody and how she feels about them and what she wants. And we're going to find out some of that stuff.
And there's some new guys in there.
And there might be some familiar faces.
And if they maybe didn't get along in a previous comic like I saw them, maybe they still don't get along now.
There will be action and there will be heart stuff, emotional stuff. We like to write our comic books like a movie. Like if we were gonna, honestly, if Eric said, hey, it's time to do the Yara movie, we'd be like, there we go.
Let's go.
That's part 1. Let's go.
Part 1. Let's do part 2. Yeah. I'm so excited for people to read it. I'm dying. All I've done is read Yara for weeks now, man. It's my life. I think I'm most excited about the fan reaction, and no pressure because a lot of people have a really high expectation what this book's going to be. And I think we just look at it as a privilege that we're the ones that get to do this. Like, talk about being set up for success. I feel like Shawn Michaels at Hell in a Cell, and I feel like Kane just came in and just beat up the Undertaker, and I pulled myself out of like a pool of blood and I won. And Yara's mine. Like that's nice. It's nice that the boss would put you over like that. Like Eric's cool, and he made a cool character with Yara. I like the people in his book.
I love comic books. To be able to write the number 1 of a character like Yara is insane.
Yeah,
it's like getting to like if Xena had really, really great superpowers.
Yeah,
man, I just remember reading X-Men and Chris Claremont. That's why I'm so weird. I read Chris Claremont way too young.
And you watched Clive Barker movies.
I did. I saw Hellraiser at 12. That's what happened to me. Careful. But to be able to be writers of a comic book and stories for a whole new generation of fans of every age, every gender, it's not like, oh, hey, this is just for girls. She's an amazing character. She's hot. I think guys should like her.
I think both people are gonna like her.
She's like Catwoman for me. Like, I don't know if I want to date her, if I want to be her. I'm somewhere on the line in between.
I think I looked at the Ask Yara or Ask a character in the Rippaverse tweet questions. A lot of people just want Yara's phone number. They want to date her. I think you're not the only one that has conflicting, confusing, passionate feelings about Yara.
She's just an Amazon. Like, she
makes you feel safe. Like, if you went to a bar, you went with Yara, you'd be like, oh, we're good.
She's also such a rich character. Like we planned. I'm smiling because we have planned so much for Yara. Not all of it you're gonna get in issue 1, but I'm waiting for you smarties, you little clever detectives finding little pieces and be like, oh, does that mean this? Or, oh my God, did that suggest that? Or, oh my gosh, this is gonna happen soon.
Yeah, there's definitely been a couple of fan theories. After I read it, I like went to work and I was like, who was it? Who was talking to somebody while you were drunk? And they were like, it wasn't me. Like, nobody said anything. I was like, it was somebody, or this is like a really smart mofo and we got to watch him.
Right?
Well, I saw a couple things that I was like, what the hell did they get in here? Like,
well, it's been a really spooky campaign because like when Eric announced it, it snowed here in Vancouver and like people all over the world were like, it's snowing right now. And I was like, that's weird. That's
guerrilla marketing. That's old school grassroots.
That's
changing
God.
The weather.
That's God.
I think God's a big fan.
God's a big Yara fan.
Definitely.
I hear they like stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was really excited when I found out that you guys were going to be brought on to write Yara. Can you like describe like that moment when like Eric was like, yo, you know, you think you want to do it?
Oh wow! Well, we weren't asked right away when the ISOM 1 campaign. I don't think anyone, and from my understanding, no one understood what ISOM 1 was gonna do.
No.
It was like, hey, let's fund this book, not like, hey, let's fund this whole company.
Let's make a company.
and during the excitement, we were watching and being like, oh, it's so cool. And the first time we saw Yara, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, well, I can't help but notice there's a female character there. And I didn't go to Eric and say anything like, well, you liked our Black Widow, but I part of my soul was saying,
We thought
he really liked our Black Widow, and I was like, no, Jen, Eric has other friends. He has like connections with other artists.
Could be anybody.
And then he said he had to talk to us about something, and he talked to us about the Rippaverse. Talk to us about Yara, and he's like, I've been thinking about it for a while, and I really want you to write her. And you can think about it, but obviously we were like, yes, oh my god, yes, yeah. This is a verbal contract. We're doing it now. There's no way out. Yes.
Yeah, and we had to we are good at keeping secrets. We had to keep on that forever.
Oh my god, we had to be quiet about being the writers of Yara for so long. Like when people are like, when's Yara coming out? Like, I have waited.
I know the wait, guys. I've been there with y'all.
I'm that, winter is coming gift with the snow all gathered on the face. I'm like, I can't wait. But when I heard also about who she was, and she's really the missing character in the hero or in the anti-hero space. Careful, Jen. I was just really excited about the ideas that he had of who she was, and then him being like, well, I thought that you guys would be good to write a character, and I can't tell you what he said to describe Yara, but incredibly flattering.
Yeah, and I don't think people give Eric enough credit for the universe he's made. Like when he sat us down and he explained this character and this means this, and this is this, and that's that, and we're going to do this and that and that. I was like, holy shit, wow. No spoilers, but there's stuff about these characters that I've never seen done. I've never seen it done before. So it's just kind of cool that, well, I guess it's obvious as somebody who loves comic books as much as Eric would be like, hey, this doesn't exist. I like this. Boom, done. And then, yeah.
Everything in the universe comes from a love and a deep knowledge of comic books.
Yeah.
Like, nothing is like an homage directly to anything, but it's a love letter to comics and the comics that we grew up on.
Yeah, and that sense of community, like, it's so funny. I grew up and thought you couldn't be a nerd anymore. I thought it was just like, no comics, no wrestling, no horror movies. I was like, oh no, that's my entire personality. No. And then getting into this whole community, it's nice to see fellow nerds. It's nice to geek out with other people. It's nice to see people really passionate about who would win in a superhero fight. Like, that's my jam. I love that shit.
Yeah, I love talking to people about Yara. I'm still over the moon that we get to write it. I keep thinking that, I'm going to wake up and I'll be like Buffy, the Normal Again episode where I'm just like in a psych ward and I just dreamed up this wonderful life.
I like how you speak in Buffy references. Like people everybody in the chat is like, oh yeah, you hit that one hard.
Normal Again. That was a scary Buffy episode. That one messed me up. Sometimes I skip it when I'm doing the watch through.
People don't like it.
I remember that one actually because you said it. I was like, oh yeah, it's the thing that
Yeah.
I also speak in Buffy. Now, I'm going to redirect us real quick because we're on the final question, and it's the surprise question I didn't send you because I was like, I wanted to let you expand on this.
Yeah.
So the surprise question is, what do you want to talk about in interviews that nobody really gets to ask you?
Oh, wow.
What do we want to talk about in interviews that we never get to talk about?
See, I know it's a good question when it's read back to me.
That is a really good question. One thing I never get asked that I love to talk about is how much I love specific video games. Like Metal Gear Solid. I am obsessed over Metal Gear Solid. Part of me, even though I know it's not true, I feel like I have gone to war and I've been a secret agent because I've played every Metal Gear game. Silent Hill also. I would say that there's a lot of video games that have actually influenced our stories because not everyone plays video games, and if you do an homage to like a Silent Hill, people will be like, oh wow, where'd that come from? Like, just a video game.
I liked the question that you asked about the difficult scene because no one's ever actually asked me that before, and we've had a lot of like crazy things. The answer
Yeah.
I wish I could have given you was from Festival of the Living Dead, because we did such dangerous stunts on that film. That's like probably the most dangerous film we ever pulled off. And it felt like shooting Spider-Man 2, which if you ever hear me reference that means it's perfect. Spider-Man 2 is a perfect film. So like if I'm like, guys, this is like Spider-Man 2, you just keep doing it. Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about at all? You've got 6 minutes to claim as yours to do whatever you want.
Well, let me say hi to people. Okay.
Hi, Alaska Nut.
Hi,
Hail-
Yara.
Hi, Ashley R. And Tennessee wife. Mwah. Hello, Hail the Lore. Hello, Mr. Toxicity.
Hi, James Hurley.
Mwah.
Right, let me go up. Let me see.
Andrew, you're still in there. Did we
Hi,
kill
Jasmine.
you?
Hi, Avery. I'm gonna take the sleeves off my Yara too.
Oh, Ryan.
Hi,
Ryan, I got your email. Sorry, I'm so buried in Yara right now, but I will get back to you.
We just have
So
chat
buried, huh?
right now.
Psychotic Mongoose, I love you also.
Hi, Bruce. Nice. Okay, we got y'all.
And Cara Anderson. Marcus, hey.
Hi, and Barrett. Hi.
Barrett, hello. Barrett reminds me that I gotta dedicate some sleep time to Final Fantasy Rebirth. I mean, you don't need sleep, you just need rebirth. Hi, Zero.
Hi, Az. You were here earlier. Hi.
Az was here?
Yes.
Yeah, I was doing my best not to fangirl. I'm like, oh, yeah, my channel. Oh, my goodness.
Oh
know.
my gosh, Az, I thought you hated women. What's wrong?
I'm glad he's not playing Final Fantasy right now, so he can join us.
He's probably gone back to play Final Fantasy right now.
He's very good at it. Did we miss anybody? Brez Monkey?
Oh, Brass Monkey, hello.
Anarcha. Hi, Sassy. Alaskan Nut. Okay.
Yeah.
Go to the bottom of the chat if we never spoke to you.
I will also say, please reach out to us on social media. And also, if you have authors like the great Chuck Palahniuk or Jimmy Palmiotti, even David Hayter, who voiced Solid Snake, if you like these people, you can reach out to them and be nice to them. And a lot of them will talk to you. And it's a great way to get connections. There is a fan that's a YouTuber. I forget his name. He's actually making an animated Metal Gear Solid series.
What?
With David Hayter voicing Snake. I don't know how he got the rights to that, but that is insane. So please also reach out to us if you have any questions or if you just want to see a picture of Princess Diana, because I have a lot of them. I can show you how tiny she was when she was just a little puppy.
Yeah. Follow your stupid fucking dreams, you guys.
They're the only ones worth having.
Yeah, and stoked about Yara in 9 days. Thank you so much.
I'm also stoked about all the things that we've done for the Rippaverse that I'm not allowed to talk about. There are months later in the year that I can't even suggest that I'm extraordinarily excited about for no particular reason. I'm excited for the benchmarks for the Yara campaign that we're all going to crush.
Shorts.
You guys...
I'm just going to wear them. It's happening. Yeah, no, don't shake your head and say no. I've used my power. I'm making this happen. That's the one spoiler that you all get.
It was either booty shorts or body pillow. It had to be one.
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking about all the work that would have to go into making a body pillow.
Oh, but it's doable?
Yeah. Well, actually, behind the scenes Rippaverse conversations, we were talking to FedEx. And we were having a conversation with FedEx about merch and the kind of stuff that we sent. And I had jokingly said yeah, fans want a body pillow. And the guy was like, do you need a guy for that? Because I know a place. I was like, no, don't.
There's a guy.
I told you there's a market for it because it's not just for perverts, Sylv. It's for people who want to hold something when they sleep.
I don't kink shame. Do whatever the fuck you want with
Do
your
what
pillow.
You want with your pillow.
It's your fucking pillow. It's none of my business. You're an adult.
I am very excited to model those booty shorts, though.
Yeah, I feel like we should do a video.
I'm gonna have 50 pairs of them.
I'm gonna get everybody who's modeling the booty shorts to send in a video, and I'll cut a super one to it.
I'm totally doing squats. That's the whole reason I do squats right now. Yeah.
We all got to do at least. I hear 50 a day is all you need.
That's it.
Your bum nice and trim, guys.
50 squats. 50
Avery, 100 at least. Okay.
Kettlebell. Do it with the kettlebell. Work at those inner thighs.
Hold the bell while you do your squats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's called here. I'm not gonna model it because it's not that kind of stream. But it's called a goblet squat. And so you hold it like this in front of you and you do your squats.
Oh, wow.
nice.
Carrow, you're for real hardcore. I'm only hardcore in movies.
I'm embarrassed now. Okay, so we're gonna end the stream. Is there anything else that you guys want to say before we go ahead and end?
Kissy's tail is the cutest thing ever, wagging.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kissy! Kissy!
Yeah, good girl.
What a good girl!
That was great. I don't know how you trained her to do that, but that was cool.
Oh, what a good girl! What a good
It's a weapon. Like if she like does it by you and it hits you, it will bruise your leg. Like it's just like that kind of. Yeah.
Fan and her tail too. They're just kind of insane.
Yeah, it's like being punched in the face by a little cat, like a strong cat.
Yeah.
I love the animations, guys. I love y'all who came into the group. Thank you.
Oh, do you guys want those pictures?
Very, very soon. And Festival of the Living Dead will be released by Tubi sometime this year.
Yeah. Woo.
And definitely, like, I know that some of you are raising horror kids, but watch that one first. Watch that one first.
If you watch Walking Dead, you can watch Festival of the Living Dead. It's fine.
If
kids are fine.
If your kid can watch Walking Dead, they can direct Walking Dead, man. If they can watch that, good for them. That's a hardcore kid.
Some kids they're different, man. Like you watched horror movies.
I know. I used to watch, actually I still watch a lot of trash.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, follow your dreams. Thank you for being here.
And please find us online. We're so grateful that you all came and hung out.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, so much love. Okay, that's going to be the end of this interview. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. I hope that you had a good time, and we will do this again in probably 30 days with a different face. I don't know who that face is. I'll figure it out. But until then, stay jazzy, stay cool. I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to hit that button. I'm going to